It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back.
Welcome to this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where we showcase urban superheroes here in the Bronx and around the world. I am your host, Hosea James Givan II. Today we have 3 different segments focused on 3 different projects. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's check it out. Welcome, Elder Wally. Would you please introduce our guest?
Yes, we'll start out with Patricia Edmondson. She has been a martial artist for several years. She'll have to speak for herself, that many years. And also Russell Crawley, the same thing. They have been martial artists for many years. They all have their own other world, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Okay, and of course, our audience is very familiar with Elder Wally Abdun Noor. He wears several hats in our community of the Bronx. Today, he's here to help to promote a particular event that's coming up later this month. Ladies first.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been in the martial arts, as Wally said, for many years. I got my black belt when I was 62 years old. And at that point,
There's hope for me yet.
this was Shotokan, the real crazy stuff.
Wow.
And a friend of mine introduced me, and he said, I think you've had enough of this part. You need to get to something else. And he introduced me to Master Abdul and the Tai Chi. And it was just an honor. When I mention his name, I get very emotional. I'm sorry. He was just a great master, spiritually, emotionally. I mean, he kept you going no matter what. And I remember I used to always say to myself, when I first started, I don't think there were many other women in the class. I remember myself being the only woman. And he was very firm, and he would yell if you didn't get it right. And I used to laugh and say, I don't think these men want me in the class. And the most beautiful thing is when I got to know him, he was such a soft, beautiful person and a wonderful friend. And I think that we continue the Tai Chi. I know I do. I'll be 85 this month. But I continue because he always encouraged me, you can do it, continue, keep doing it. And his spirit just remains in every time I practice or go to a class. So I'm looking forward to do the Tai Chi Day on April 30th with him and the other students that we work with him for so many years. It's a blessing. And it will be an honor to be there and to honor him and to keep him in our spirit. I think we don't even need Tai Chi Day to keep him in our spirit. It's there always. I miss him, but he's always there.
Last year on August 12th, we laid Grandmaster Abdul Musawir to rest. And at that time, it had left a tremendous void within the martial arts world and the health and wellness community here in New York City, especially the El Barrio, Harlem, East Harlem, and also the Bronx. A lot of the martial artists that were peers of Abdul Musawir came out to his funeral and also gave shout outs onto his Facebook page and called up to find out what happened. And, amongst all of his peers, including everyone here and the rest of the world, a great pain and sorrow was felt, and everybody gave their condolences and blessings. But still, his school continues on his legacy to complete it and to evolve it. And one of the things that Abdul Musawir incorporated into his program was World Tai Chi and Qigong Day here in the Bronx. And we continue that. And World Tai Chi and Qigong Day is a global event. It is a global event that's been going on since 1999. It was founded in Kansas, and now it takes place in, over 100 cities and over 80 nations. And at 10 a.m. in those respective time zones, everybody come together and perform Tai Chi and Qigong and share their knowledge of what they have learned over the past years, for free. That's the tradition. And so,
can I ask you, what is the significance of 10 a.m.? Is there a significance to that hour, to that time?
Well, Bill Douglas, who is the creator and founder, the ultimate creator and founder of World Tai Chi, that's the way he set it up.
Okay.
And so at 10 a.m. in Japan, everyone gets together and starts to perform Qigong and Tai Chi. And as that 10 a.m. moves across the planet in other time zones, such as India, such as Pakistan, such as we got South Africa, you have people in Italy, you have people in other areas of Europe, you got the Caribbean, people in Tobago, Barbados, Central America, South America, in those respective time zones, start to perform Tai Chi and Qigong.
So can you tell our audience exactly where it's going to take place here in the Bronx?
It's going to take place at Mullally Park, which is on 164th Street and Jerome Avenue, across the street from Yankee Stadium. And the program starts at 10 o'clock, but we'll be there at 9:30, of course. The program will basically start around 9:30. But at 10 o'clock, everyone should be in their places to start performing their own Tai Chi and Qigong or whatever martial arts system you are a part of. Just come on down and jump in the water.
That's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm not there. I don't know karate, but I know crazy. But
come on down.
But unfortunately, I'm going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, for the Drake Relays. That's where I attended school, and that's a big event at my old alma mater. So I'm going to miss it this year, but I'm certainly going to try to make it next year because it's always the last Saturday of the month. Is that right?
It's always the last Saturday of April. That's the way it was set up ever since 1999, and we picked up the tradition in here in the Bronx in 2016. Mm-hmm. And we've been carrying that tradition on up until today. In 2020, we had World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, but it was a Zoom program. Right. It was a Zoom. Everybody was on Zoom because we were in the midst of the pandemic.
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that information. I ask our audience, if you are in a position, if you're able to join us, we will give you the information again at the end of the show. But I know Elder Wally, he's been telling me about this for years. And based on what Miss Addison has shared with me at 62, she started taking up the arts. I'm going to be part of that team as well. So
okay, we do have the telephone number and the email address and the Facebook page also as well. So you can ask for that.
I will make sure that we get that to our audience. Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Welcome back to this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. We have as our guest Miss Lisa D. Ross. Lisa is going to give us some information about an event that she is participating in April 22nd. And without further ado, Lisa, tell us about the program.
Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity. I certainly appreciate you having me on your show to be able to share with your listeners about this amazing women's conference that we're having. It is groundbreaking, and it is called the Wash Women's Conference, Wailing Women, a Spiritual Encounter in Him. And we in the Harlem community, the women of the Harlem community are gathering together, as well as those that are coming from the surrounding areas. We are gathering together because we are a woman coming together with a common cause to pray for the ills and the challenges that are going on in our communities today. So the prayer conference is pretty much a prayer conference, and we will come together and we will pray for families. We will pray for jobs. We're going to be praying for this pandemic to be halted, rebated, stopped, and gone away. And so we will be covering mental and physical health and violence, the gun violence that's going on in the city. We're going to cover that all in prayer. We're going to cover the government in prayer, those that in the legislative body that actually represents us. We want to cover them in prayer as well. And so looking forward to having an amazing time. We're going to be teaching the women how to go before God in a wailing manner in order to obtain His providence and get some peace and joy in their lives.
Wow. I think that, well, you and I met this past weekend up at the New York State New York State Association of Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian legislators. And
yes,
it was an opportunity. We were at the Alpha Kappa Alpha reception, and you presented me the flyer for your event. And I got to say, if there was ever a need for this type of event, it is certainly now, because we are dealing with all the things that you mentioned. Need, and I believe in the power of prayer. I totally believe in the power of prayer. And you talked about the pandemic and COVID-19. I'm sniffling, not knowing if I contracted it, because as we talked offline, our mayor Eric Adams is now dealing with COVID-19, and I, as I told you, I dapped him up, and so I'm gonna after I'm finished taping, I'm actually go out and get tested, and to see if just to get clarity and just deal with whatever I have to deal with. But is this your first year doing the event?
Yes, this is the first annual event. I'm a new ministry coming out in Harlem. I've been in Harlem for 12 years. I'm a native New Yorker. I moved to Harlem back in 2011 to see my dad through to his transition. He passed in 2012. I thank you so much. It's been an amazing journey. It's been an interesting one as well. And so I have been ordained by God to step out in ministry now. I have been ministering in Harlem for probably about the last 4 years, just, quietly in the cut, feeding the homeless, the hungry and the homeless, doing, having some Bible studies at the Lucretia Lamb Senior Center. And now for May 2020, and May 1st, 2020 was my official launching of the ministry. We did it online because, of course, we were in quarantine. So we had to do it online. We did it online. And so now that we are opening up a little, the Lord has moved me at this time to come with this particular conference. And it is unique in that they have wailing women conferences all the time. It's unique in that it's outdoors. So we're going to be wailing before God, as they do in some of the international countries. They go before God outside. And so God moved me to do this outside. And it's actually an interfaith conference. So we're asking all those that understand and know God to come out and help us go before him, because this is a community effort. And so because women are the backbone of any society, we also are looking to cradle the community by having a day of community service, which would be on Saturday, April 23rd. For the community. We'll be coming to the community with services such as mental and medical health services. We're going to be having dental services for the community, as well as beauty and barber services, some employment opportunities. And so I'm excited. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Aspect. And so I am really excited about it. And so I look forward to meeting and seeing and just gathering together with our brothers and sisters as we go before the Lord under an open heaven.
Fantastic. And can you give our audience exactly where you're going to be?
Yes, we're going to be at the Marcus Garvey Park, Richard Rogers Amphitheater, 120th and 5th Avenue.
It used to be Mount Morris Park before it was Marcus Garvey Park.
Garvey Park, right.
And that's where they had the documentary. I remember going there so vividly as a child.
Oh, wow.
The Academy Award for Best Documentary.
So that's where we'll be there. It's a huge block. So once you get on 120th Street, you cannot miss the park at all. They have a brand new, recently renovated. It's a beautiful facility. And that's where we'll be.
Okay. Thank you very much. And let me just say, that's the first place that I heard gospel music was at Mount Morris Park. And I was,
is that right?
9 or 10 years old. It was
oh, wow.
Edwin Hawkins singers, and they were singing "Oh Happy Day," and I'll never forget it. It's a vivid memory that I will never forget. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science, become the mayor or something, make the situation better for other people. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back to this final episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. I am here with my guest, Katara Miller, a sister who I've known since the days that I was a dean at PS 118 out in Hollis, Queens. Welcome to the show, Katara.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Givan. And now I'm Hardy, so some people know me as Katara Miller, and some people know me as Katara Hardy, but that's fine. I'm a Miller.
That's right. So I knew her before she got married, right? That's right.
Right.
I'm programmed still with that name.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So why don't you tell us, I know you're involved with an initiative that was started in the White House with President Obama, My Brother's Keeper, My Brother's Sister, and you're over the initiative there in District 29 in Queens. Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, so yes, President Obama started his initiative in 2014 for My Brother's Keeper to close the opportunity and achievement gap for Black, Brown, and Latinos, because, obviously there is disproportionality within the African-American community, especially amongst males. So my colleague, James Pressey, went to an MBK symposium in Albany one year, I believe it was 2018, and was intrigued. So he came back to our office and asked the superintendent here, Beverly Mitchell, to initiate the My Brother's Keeper movement for our elementary and middle school students. So when that happened, Dr. Andre Spencer was the executive superintendent at the time. He asked if we could combine My Brother's Keeper and My Sister's Keeper all across Queens South. So I became the lead for My Sister's Keeper, and now we are My Brothers and Sisters Keeper, so MBSK. for grades 3 to 8 in all 35 of our schools in District 29.
That is fantastic. And honestly, until I talked to you, this was the first time that I actually heard of my sister's keeper. It does make sense. You want to make sure that we don't forget about our sisters. But I do know you, and I do know that when you put your mind to something, it's going to blow up to be something special. So
Thank you.
they are blessed to have you heading up this initiative. And you talked to me. We just had this opportunity. The last 2 times I was in Albany for the New York Black and Puerto Rican Legislative, or New York Association of Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislators. I saw you at the gala in 2019, and again I saw you last night at the 2 nights ago up there in Albany, and you told me about an initiative connected with that program that involves the Black fraternities and sororities. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, so we launched in 2019, and my brothers and sisters keeper for District 29. I can say my sister's keeper just to give a shout out, because we know MBK came from New York, came from like Dr. Young, Lester Young, Dr. Alston.
Oh, 6, A for A.
Yes, and then we also trickled down to George Patterson, who is the head of New York City MBK program that I work closely with. And then under MSK for the city was really like Dr. Lamb, Deborah Lamb, and Dr. Nari Dixon, who I became a Queens Point person. Natasha Eastman, I have to give a shout out to her because she's head of guidance for high schools, and they head up those initiatives for GEMS and MSK. So just briefly to say that. So moving forward in 2020, we had the pandemic. So we just thought about creative ways as to have Zoom calls and Zoom events and culminating events, we call it. We have our ambassadors that we call people, the CBOs that come in and help us with our planning, and then our chapter leaders, which are the staff that the principals assign to our students to mentor our students. So we have theme-based, monthly theme-based meetings with our students. So we try to keep it where it's not rigid, it's still fun-filled. And when we thought about different events that can take place, the first event for our pandemic, we decided to tap into HBCUs and have a homecoming event week with HBCUs, Divine Nine, and Back to 29. So people that used to be in 29, they could come back as alumni and tell us about it. And then the trend was that I saw that a lot of Divine Nine went to HBCUs, then a lot of the District 29 alumni were either in the Divine Nine or HBCU. So everyone had a similar story.
Right.
So we had a homecoming week from your living room. Nice. Dr. Young came on, Dr. Alston, George Patterson, Dr. Shango Blake came on to support us. So during this time, I was able to, I was advised by the superintendent, because I'm not a part of the Divine Nine, nor have I ever attended an HBCU, to just get some context as to what's the appropriate way of going about an event. So we have a lot of principals and a lot of staff members within District 29 that are a part of the Divine Nine. So I tapped into about 15 people to have a meeting. And this is where I kind of messed up, but it was a blessing though. They asked me, the Divine Nine, 15 people, asked if I could connect with the presidents of each organization. That will kind of help me with the planning and the Pan-Hellenic. So I said, okay, I wrote all of these notes down to just try to make sure that I had everything down pat. So what I did was I ended up going on the internet, finding the presidents the
Oh,
national presidents.
right. Instead of
of
local
each.
chapter presidents. I get it.
Right. So I had no idea there was chapter presidents or whatever.
Right.
I found national presidents.
Right.
So I began emailing national presidents, and I got good feedback. You know, the Alpha's national president, he was the first one who contacted me. And I think
We're always first. We're always first.
and I think Malik Goodson.
Goodson.
Yes, he said, listen, I'm in there. Don't worry about it. I'm in there. So he participated. Then we had AKAs, the presidents of that just started calling me Kappas, the Kappas national president, Deltas. And then I happen to know the Sigma Gamma Rho's actual president of New York City.
Wow.
So that happened by chance. I grew up with her. So not knowing that all of these people that I had connections with was a part of the Divine Nine, the Sigmas, and then you had Iotas, and because I want to make it clear, I want to get
you got everybody just as Zetas, and then you good.
Zetas. Thank you. So what happened was after that, I organized the next event, well, the planning meeting. By that time, over 80 Divine Nine participants was on.
Wow.
And it was phenomenal because in the planning, in the process, I was letting people know who I wanted, what I wanted the program to look like, and what I wanted it to convey. Because my number one thing was really about Black fraternities and Black sororities, because MBSK has that fraternity sorority feel.
Right.
And I really want our children to understand about community service.
Excellent.
And I see that that's the trend within the fraternities and sororities, and
Right.
you know, just being servant leaders. So the competition between the adults on the call was so refreshing and so funny, because everyone it was one Divine Nine, but everyone
Trying to be like the Alphas. I get it. Nobody's really in our league, but it's all good. But I want to thank you. We got to wrap this up, this segment up. I want to thank you for your input and for sharing that. I love your background. I love the fact you got my fraternity brother, Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela, who I actually had the opportunity to meet, as well as Angela Davis on the bottom middle. Who's the sister in the middle between Dr. King and
Shakur.
Who?
Shakur.
Oh, wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
And I believe he was he's the founder of the Black Panthers. Newton.
Huey P. Newton.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a Sigma brother. Okay, shout him out. Okay, thank you, sister.
Thank you.
And I'll be in touch because I want to be involved, as I told you, up in Albany.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Thank you for watching this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. I was your host, Hosea James Givan II, and remember, if it's in your heart, do your part. Today's help equals tomorrow's hope. I love our youth. Power to the people.